Hello, speaking.
Oh, good morning. My name is Marc Stevens, and I'm assisting a client. His name is. He's on the line with us.
Hello.
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 How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Okay, Mark will take the lead in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Miss.
Mark, who are you, Mark? Sorry.
My name is Marc Stevens. I'm a legal consultant from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm assisting Mr.
You're a legal consultant in America.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for a better class of clients now. So.
Looking after what? Sorry.
I said I was looking for a better class of clients.
Okay.
By going to Australia. Okay, that didn't. Okay, anyway, I had a couple of questions regarding the prosecution, the complaint that you have. One of the main issues that I have is, do you have any facts to prove that the code or the laws are applicable to Mr. and that the court has jurisdiction over him?
I don't need, and I'm not going to entertain any of these points because we don't have to. We've provided Mr. with the brief of evidence, everything that the prosecution's going to rely on, and that's it.
Well, what specifically?
We don't need, and I'm not going to entertain any of these points because it is in Australia. We don't need to prove those matters.
You don't have to prove jurisdiction?
No.
You don't have to prove that the code you're accusing him of violating applies?
No.
No?
And it does apply.
Well, okay, and that's why what I'm getting to. Since you believe it does, and that's your opinion, what facts do you rely on? Or is it just arbitrary?
Well, all these points, and this conference is a waste of time because all of these points I've addressed them in writing to Mr. It went in the post yesterday. So I think that if there are further questions that arise from that, then we can speak about that next week.
Well, I have you on
the laws are very different in Australia than they are in Arizona.
Well, the application of those really hinges on a lot of the same things. So I'm not talking about the actual text of the code. I'm talking about the application of it. You believe it's applicable to my client. I want to know what facts specifically you rely on, if any.
Well, I don't have those in front of me.
Well, we could schedule another time to speak.
These have been put in writing to me, and I've addressed Mr. So I'm happy to discuss the facts in the sense of his car. It was parked there, and all of those things that are contained in the prosecution brief. I'm happy to discuss those, but not anything else in relation to these other points.
So, well, we don't believe that you've provided anything specific as far as facts that the code is applicable. You may have presented some information, but there's nothing there to show that the code is applicable.
Do you have something else to discuss?
Well, you don't believe that that's an important issue to prove that the concept that the code you're accusing him of violating is applicable?
What code? There is no code.
Well,
there are regulations. The regulations apply.
Well, I'm using it in a general sense. So the regulation, we're talking about the regulation.
The regulations apply to all roads in Victoria.
You're applying it to my client,
There's nothing special about this case. It is a straightforward parking infringement. Well, have you seen the photos?
What I'm getting at is you're applying a regulation to my client, and I want to know the facts that you rely on that the regulation is applicable in the first place.
Have you read the brief?
I have read through the material. I don't see anything in there that would indicate any kind of evidence or facts that you rely on that the regulation is applicable. I know that you're alleging that he's violated the regulation, but I don't see anything in there to satisfy step one.
It's a matter for the court.
Well, it's a matter for you to. Do you have evidence, yes or no? I mean, did you rely on facts, or are you just relying on the court to fill that in for you?
No.
Okay.
We don't need to prove any facts.
You don't need to prove any facts?
We will be proving the road. We will prove the road that he was on, that the signs applied, and that the road rules regulations will be tendered. Maybe you should read those.
Well, I'm not interested in what they actually say yet. You keep trying to go to step...
Have you got another point? Mr. Stevens, have you got another point? Seriously, because I'm not going to entertain this. The costs in this matter for a parking fine are increasing significantly, and if your client is unsuccessful, we will be seeking those costs against him.
I understand.
These points are ridiculous. I'm happy to talk about the facts of the case, but not whether the road rules even apply.
So you want to accuse him of violating the regulation, but whether there's evidence to prove that the regulation applies...
I just told you what evidence there will be that they apply.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. The road that he was on, the signs that were there.
Yeah, but what facts do you have
that... The regulations say where they apply. He will be within the bounds of the municipality of Melbourne. That's all we need to prove.
Well, that's circular.
So do you have another point, Mr. Stevens?
Well, what you said was that the regulations say. Well, I'm asking you for the facts. You're saying the regulations...
I just told you the facts. I'm not entertaining these arguments. They have been tried and tried in the courts of Victoria for a long time, and they fail.
I haven't presented an argument. I'm just asking you for the facts, and you gave me a circular argument.
If you don't accept that they're the facts, if you don't accept that they're the facts, that's fine. What is the next point?
You gave me a circular argument. You said that the regulations say.
That's my answer.
So you don't have any. You don't have any actual.
That is my answer.
So
do you have something else?
You need to let me finish. You're coming off, kind of like an American at this point. Just let me finish my question, and we can get through this. You're relying on the code itself as evidence or the regulations themselves that the regulations are applicable.
I've already said my answer. It was more than that. What is your next issue that you want to discuss? I'm not discussing these points anymore.
I think that's pretty much all we really need to address. You don't have any facts other than the code that the code's applicable, or the regulations.
Well, you weren't listening. You weren't listening to my answer. But do you have another point? Is this the only point? Because Mr. can raise this on Wednesday at the hearing, and then the court will decide.
All right. Well, which witness do you plan on calling to testify and prove that the regulations apply?
Well, it will be, as I said, we need to establish the road and things like that, and they will be established by the parking officer.
Parking officer.
Mm-hmm.
And so have you...
Do you have any other issues about the actual facts of the case that you want to discuss?
Yeah, have you interviewed the parking officer about this?
Interviewed?
Have you spoken with him and discussed the facts with him?
No, because these matters are so straightforward that I will speak to him before the court hearing, and then he will give his oral evidence, as they do, as routine.
And you believe he's qualified and has personal first-hand knowledge that the regulations are applicable to my client?
Well, you don't understand. I'm not entertaining that point anymore, Mr. Stevens, okay?
It's a different...
You don't understand the costs that are increasing and increasing in this matter for Mr.
Well, what I understand is you're making a threat. You're making a backhanded threat.
All I'm saying is that if you have something about the facts of the case to discuss, I'm happy to discuss them. Otherwise, I'm going to end this conversation.
Yeah. Well, let me just ask you, what facts do you rely on?
Are you going to be here on Wednesday to represent Mr. He's flying in from Arizona?
You don't need to get nasty now, okay?
No, I'm not getting nasty, but are you going to be there?
Oh, come on. We're having a conversation here, and you're going to throw something like that up? I just have a few questions, and you're going to say something like that?
What's your next question?
Well, what facts have you presented to show that the court has jurisdiction over Mr.
We don't need to prove that. That is proven all the time.
Don't need to prove that. Okay. So you don't have any facts to show that the court has jurisdiction over him?
Nope.
Okay.
Anything else? I've answered these. I've seen these in writing, and I've written back to Mr. on the points that are necessary to respond to him. These are not necessary. What is your next question? My
next question is, would it be possible to speak to your supervisor?
Yes. He is not here at the moment.
Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be today.
Yep. That's okay.
What's her name or his name? Okay. Is there a direct number for him?
You can just ring the General Maddox number.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
If Mr. has any questions about the facts of this case or the actual evidence in relation to him parking his car, I am happy to talk to him about those.
But that's all we've done.